Hello and welcome everyone joining from across the world. I'm Clayton Criven.
Hello everyone, I'm Julie Floater.
What a special time, Julie. I'm so excited to be with you today.
I'd love to introduce you to our first session today. We'll be hearing from our very close friends, Andrew Green, Head of Design at Canva, and Kat Werff, our Executive Creative Director, who will be taking us through graphic design essentials and Canva for pro designers.
So please sit back, have your Canva workbook open and ready. Remember, you can grab this by going to bit.ly/Canva Create 21 and get excited. Woo! Over to you, Andrew.
Thanks, Clay. Thanks, Julie. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Graphic Design Essentials for Everyone. That's right, this session is for everyone. And a big thank you to all of you joining today from around the world. My name's Andrew Green. I'm the head of design here at Canva. And I'm so excited to be talking today about one of my favorite subjects, graphic design essentials. Now, we've created a fun workbook that accompanies today's session. So if you'd like to practice what you've learned today, or just take some notes, log into Canva, type this link to your web browser. It will open your very own copy of the workbook so you can get really hands-on. So today I'm going to be running through visual communication, templates for anything, the elements of design, and have some really handy resources that you can use every day. Now let's get started with the importance of visual communication. Now the world's becoming increasingly visual. Design's all around us. It grabs our attention, it tells stories, and it shares important ideas. And it's not just social media anymore. Presentations, schoolwork documents, and anything else that's asking us to communicate is becoming more and more visual. And did you know that visual content is 40 more times likely to get shared and remembered? 65% of people are visual learners. 90% of the information transmitted to the brain is visual. And visual information is processed faster than text by 6,000 times. So to sum it up, visual communication is the most impactful way to tell your story, and it's more critical than ever. So by understanding the fundamentals of graphic design, you can improve your ability to clearly communicate visually every day. So visual communication is also important for every single role. No matter what part of the organization you're working in, it's becoming the standard form of expression at work and also at home. It can tell a unique, precise, and powerful message immediately. And it's not just relevant for graphic design documents. Design can help you make a bigger impact across every channel, document, any format imaginable. Presentations, video, print, social media, and yes, even spreadsheets. So to that end, something we truly believe in at Canva is that design isn't just for designers, it's for everyone. And at Canva, we're dedicated to bringing the power of visual communication to absolutely everyone around the world. So how do you get started with design at Canva? One of the most unique things about Canva is our huge library of templates and visual content. With thousands of beautiful templates and enormous collections of photos, videos, and graphics and audio, Canva doesn't just make taking that first step easy, it actually gives you a really good head start. Every Canva design follows a positive chain reaction, which starts with inspiration. Then over to our most powerful offerings, our templates. Then utilizing our huge library of content to design with ease. This lets you bring your best ideas to life, all coming together seamlessly on Canva. Canva Pro also has over 500,000 templates available in just about every language around the world, and thousands of templates uniquely designed for local cultures and celebrations. We've got absolutely every corner of the world covered, every culture, every locale, every language. The Canva library is truly local. And aren't these designs just gorgeous? I love seeing these coming in. Alongside templates, you also get unlimited and free access to over 100 million high quality stock photos, videos, graphics, and audio. So you never need to search for images on the internet again. And now you can add that professional touch to all of your designs right there in Canva. And it's not just us creating templates. We've also recently launched Canva Creators. Now, Canva Creators are professional designers from around the world who create and publish their own templates for you to use. Our community really love these templates. And also, our creators earn royalties every time their templates get used by over 60 million monthly active users. So to get started, you can find templates on the homepage or in the templates menu at the top. From here, you'll see lots of template types like posters. Browse the category by clicking these tags. There are also filters to narrow down your search even further. And once you've selected a template, Scroll down and you'll see even more like the one you just selected. So cool. Now let's dig into the elements of design and start with one of my favorite topics, typography. Now, the world of typography can be pretty daunting, and there seems like an infinite amount of typefaces out there. So it's helpful to simplify them down into 3 important types of fonts that you need to know about. Start with serif fonts. They're the ones with the little tails at the end of the letters. They're formal looking and are usually used on printed media. Sans serif, on the other hand, and that comes from the French word sans, which means without, are fonts that do not have little tails. This gives them a cleaner look, and sans serif fonts are used more on the web, as they're easier on the eyes when we read them on the screen. Now, display fonts are expressive types of fonts. They're good for titles and just short amounts of text, because if you use it for everything, your design is going to look a little bit like this one on the left. It's really difficult to read. So you're better off using serif or sans serif for most of your typeface decisions, and use display fonts sparingly for that moment of impact. So quick pop quiz. How many fonts should you use in a design? Put your answer in the chat. 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3. Yeah, actually, we've got a pretty well-educated audience out there. Some really great answers there. And you're right, the best rule of thumb is not to use over 3 fonts, definitely in design. I usually have a little rule where if I'm using more than 3 fonts on any kind of design I'm doing, I just really have to think it through. Should I be using this many? So usually 2 fonts is really enough to convey your message effectively. And actually, while we're talking about 2 fonts, let's talk about pairing fonts, because it's a really great way to make an impact for design. So when it comes to font pairing, a general rule of thumb is that opposites attract. In this case, with a display font, Courgette, and a sans serif font, Clear Sans. And they balance each other out because one's expressive and the other one's neutral. You can also do thick and thin. Here we've got a strong Hebo black font with one of my favorite serifs, Noto. Thick and thin really play off each other to express a dynamic relationship. Here the coffee can be strong, but also really clear. Now you can also play around with serif and sans serif. Source Serif Pro is giving emphasis here to the most important word in the design suite, while its sister typeface, Source Sans Pro, is playing a more pragmatic role, conveying the shop element. Now, some typefaces come in both serif and sans serif, which can make a really cohesive design. So you can also play with tall and short, and you can really have a lot of fun with this. So we've created a fun workbook that accompanies today's session. So if you'd like to practice what you've learned today, or just take some notes, log into Canva and type this link in your web browser, and it will open your very own copy of the workbook so you can get hands-on. Now open your workbook and turn to page 5. And here's what to do. Select the word serif and change it to a serif font by searching in the top toolbar. Repeat steps 1 to 2 for sans and display. And while you're doing that, I'm going to continue talking about another one of my favorite topics, design principles. And when creating any visual communication, you can help your design stay clear by using a few basic visual principles or rules of thumb. These apply to all types of visual communications, presentations, social media, posts and flyers, invitations, you name it. And once you start to learn these principles, you see them everywhere around you in every manner of design. Also, when you do a bit of a search on the internet, you'll find that there's lots of different types of design principles out there. But at their core, they're the basic building blocks of design. And just like a house, you can't build a house without good solid foundations. You can't build a great design without solid design principles. So what are some design principles? Well, here are some that I use every day in every single one of my designs. Hierarchy, contrast, negative space, repetition, grouping, balance, and alignment. They're all basic elements that are used every single day. And they're principles that essentially form a framework that allows us to make design decisions and successfully arrange elements within the design. So let's look at how these principles have been applied to a simple banner. So here's our banner. When self-assessing or critiquing a design, it's really important to assess why it's working. So let's take this design, for example. Overall, you get the impression that it's a clear, successful design, but why? So let's take a closer look to see how design principles are being used here. So first up, alignment. It's really clear in this design that there's a nice alignment of the copy down the left. And alignment is a really simple and powerful way to organize your elements in text. It's important to pay attention though, to slight misalignments. Near enough is never good enough with alignments. So I always like to make sure my elements are really perfectly aligned in Canva by using the position button. Select the elements that you want to align, go to position in the toolbar, and quickly everything's kept in order. Hierarchy. In this design, you can see the clear hierarchy where the text is helping us understand what's really important. And I'm going to go into this a little bit more later. But in this headline, collect is obviously the where we want people to look, then banking made easy, and then sign up now in the call to action. Remember to tell your audience what to read or notice first in every design. This is hierarchy at play. And in this case, the design wants you to notice the collect headline. And with a larger font, it really attracts the eye. Plus, we've got some nice little interesting branding artifacts around the C. Repetition is another one. It's an easy way to create texture in your design, and I like to use it to create some harmony. So you can see it in the tones and the colors here, the imagery and the repetition of the graphic neon elements especially. It really unifies this design and it creates some harmony between the left and the right. So balance. This is one that you might think is just for professional designers, but it's actually really, really easy to use. So in this case, on our banner ad, we've got a really, really simple 5x2 grid. And it's used to achieve order and harmony in this design. So in this example, you can kind of see the asymmetrical balance that's been achieved by using graphic elements and imagery to balance the text and the negative space. And it really just lets everything breathe. If you're ever looking at a design that seems like it feels like there's a lot of space around it, it's because there's probably an underlying grid that's doing all that work. So in this case, the model's placed perfectly in the center of the first two columns, and the text is sitting perfectly flush with that third column in the first row. So contrast is another one. This design demonstrates a really clear contrast through scale, color, and placement. And contrast in the type is achieved by color, size, and font pairing. And contrast in the scale and placement is achieved by the imagery against the background with the addition of colored graphic elements. So not only is contrast essential to getting your design style really clear, it also helps to make your design more accessible for those with some loss of vision. Next up, negative space. And negative space helps this design achieve a real clear information hierarchy and balance, and it kind of pulls it all together. And as I mentioned before, grids and balance are where the magic of negative space is created. And as you can see here, even with a simple 5x2 grid, you can achieve a great aesthetic result. Grouping. Grouping is a really, really simple one, but so important. The visual groupings in this design are really easily recognized here, the two groups that you can see on the screen. And those groupings balance this design and help the viewer understand the information. This is also sometimes called proximity. And lastly, it's important to use emphasis in your designs. Emphasis, like hierarchy, helps your audience know what to read first. And with careful weighting, size, and color, you can steer their focus through your design in the most logical and structured way. So many of our principles of design can be really basic, but really impactful when used intentfully. You can use the font weight, font color, font size, and all three to really guide your design to be as clear as possible. So now we're going to do a second activity in the workbook. If you can go to page 6, and here's what you do. This is actually a really fun one. So we're going to select the text box and left align the text in the top toolbar. Next, select this sentence. What's the most important thing they should read? Once you've selected it, use the top toolbar to make this sentence bold. While you're doing that, I'm going to keep going with color theory. Now, I'm sure you've all seen this color wheel at some point, but how much do you know how to use it? At its most basic, it's a simplification of the color spectrum. Primary colors mix into secondary colors, which mix into tertiary colors, which make up the 12 colors of the color wheel. So the color wheel is used to determine what's called color harmony, or these 4 classifications of grouping colors together. Now, these groupings are based on science and are found to look really good when paired with each other. Now, you don't have to memorize all of these because there's lots of online tools to help you pair colors, including Canva, of course. So you don't have to worry about it. My favorite right now is using triadic combinations, which is the last one there. You can create really interesting combinations, and you can kind of see here with triadic that they're all different, but they all seem to work well and have a great harmony together. Now with color, proper contrast is so important, especially if you're dealing with colored text. So as you can see here, the left example isn't really legible at all. The color combination doesn't work because both of them are too bright. Whereas with the right side, it's a lot easier to read the text because the colors are subdued and one is light while the other is dark. Sometimes it can get easy to get carried away with color combinations, but make sure that you have that first rule of making it legible. Lastly, did you know that colors evoke different sorts of emotions? This is what we call the color psychology, and it's used to impact how we feel and respond to visuals. So a bright pink can evoke youthfulness through to yellow, evoking positivity in your brand. Purple can feel a little bit more regal. Blue is really dependable, and a lighter blue can sort of open things up a little bit more and feel a bit more relaxing. And then the green is associated with growth and health. But make sure your colors are right for your international audiences as well. We have people on here that are from all around the world, because culture plays a big part. For example, while green evokes prosperity in Western cultures, it's actually red, which will give you your Chinese audiences a sense of prosperity. So make sure you do your research when thinking about your audiences. If you'd like to create your own color palettes and learn more about the science behind color, we have a fantastic resource at canva.com/colors. The color wheel makes it easy to pick a color palette based on color harmony, like this triadic palette. Then click on the hex code at the bottom and copy it into your design. It's as easy as that. Now we're going on to workbook activity number 3. So turn to page 7. And here's what to do. Select the word green, color it green. Then select the gray circle in the toolbar above. Click the gray square and change it to yellow. In the top right of the toolbar, change the transparency to 60. And lastly, I wanted to share some useful resources so you can use them after this session and continue to learn and grow in design with Canva. So check out our design school at designschool.canva.com. There's tons of tutorial videos on many of the topics we discussed today, plus full courses with industry experts. So you can learn more about graphic design, branding, social media design, and much, much more. Also, take a look at canva.com/business-resources. Here you'll find lots of marketing toolkits with complete template sets, and they're all ready to be used across your business. And a big thank you to everyone joining today. Hopefully you've learned a little bit about some of the most essential parts of design that can get you started creating designs that are clear and compelling. And as I mentioned to you before, you're going to see these principles everywhere, all around you, in billboards and on the internet and everywhere. Once you start to learn these principles, they start to be things you see all the time. Now, stick around, because next up, we have Kat talking about Canva tricks for professional designers.
Thank you, Andrew. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Canva Create. We've created a fun workbook to accompany today's session. So if you'd like to take notes along the way, just log into Canva and then type in this link into your web browser. Once you've got your copy open, that's your very own, so you can really get hands-on as we go. There is a page for you to take some notes, and then there's also this one on page 9, which I'm going to come back to about halfway through this session, so you can kind of like have a look at this now, but we'll return to it a bit later. I just wanted to ask you these 2 questions. As professional designers, what tasks do you love to do, and what tasks do you dislike doing? We'll come back to this soon. This session's topic is one very close to my heart. Being a designer myself, I truly believe that Canva is for everyone, including professional designers. So I'm going to show you today how Canva can help you design brand systems at scale and collaborate better with your clients. And then I'm going to share some quick tips for how Canva can help you save time on the mundane tasks so you can spend more time doing what you love. So my name's Kat. I'm a Kiwi, as you may pick up from my accent, a bit like Clayton. I'm also a mum to this cute little 4-year-old called Fern. I joined Canva in 2018 as their very first brand designer, and now we have an in-house creative team of over 50 brand designers, illustrators, writers, motion designers, videographers, editors, producers, and more, all who bring Canva's brand to life in so many wonderful ways. A really big shout out to my amazing team. We're on a mission to empower the world to design so that everyday people can achieve their goals. Their goals might be to design a resume to land that dream job. It could be to design something really special like a photo book for a marriage proposal. This came out on Twitter last week, and he put one page at the end that said add new memory, and then he proposed to her after that. So nice. Or you could design marketing materials to help grow your small business. I really love this one as well. Just yesterday, I was thinking about the difference Canva has made in my coaching business and in my life as a small business owner, making a big difference. You guys have made a big difference for me too. You can also use Canva to achieve goals like promoting a really large event, as Raindance Film Festival just did a couple of weeks ago too. Or simply, people might want to just be creative and express themselves and cheer themselves up when they need it. That's a very important goal as well. We've just started these weekly Canva design challenges, and there's like a fun theme each week, like tigers or ice creams or llamas, and you can kind of bring a theme to life each week in any way you choose and join the competition if you want to. Really fun. So a lot of people really love Canva. It seems actually like most people really love Canva. One of my favorites here, honestly, I think I might love Canva more than my own boyfriend. Lots of people love it, but there are some people who don't so much. So some professional designers don't love us yet, but I think they're going to soon. I really do understand the misunderstanding, but I think there is a lot more to Canva than just graphic design templates. So our mission is to empower the world to design, and this includes empowering professional designers too. So to help clear things up a little, we wrote you designers a little letter. Dear professional designers, it's sometimes posed as an us versus them kind of thing. It's actually not ever been our intention, and we're sorry if it came across like that. We'd like you to keep designing in the professional design products that you know and love. Photoshop, Illustrator, wherever you feel at home. Then you can take the beautiful assets you've created and put them into a Canva template. So every time your client wants to edit a name on a business card or update some wording in a presentation, they can do that without having to bother you. So you can spend more time doing the things that you love, like strategic branding and design, and less time doing the things you don't, like annoying little text updates. So the way I like to think about this is that you've got professional design tools that can really help you hone your crafts and create beautiful work. And then you've got Canva that can help you scale that craft. So you can design brand systems and the programs you know and love, and then set them up for your clients in Canva so that your work can scale without entropy and endure the test of time. To make this even easier for you, we've actually just released a feature so you can import your InDesign and Illustrator files directly into Canva, and they will turn into Canva templates like magic. I'm going to show you that a little bit later on. So let's dive in. I'm going to take us through how to build brand systems for scale and collaborate better with our clients. So before joining Canva, I worked for over a decade in various branding agencies, some global brands, and I really loved creating brands for clients. But how many times have you created this beautiful branding system, handed it over to the client, and then you see it out in the real world and it sort of looks a bit not quite the vision that you had? I thought these memes kind of summed it up. Your designer vision is not always shared by regular people. They may not have your creative genius, they may lack the skills to wrangle Photoshop files, or perhaps they simply can't afford to keep paying a designer long term. Either way, your beautiful brand suffers entropy. Oh well, at least it looks amazing in your portfolio, right? So I think just to sum it up, you and the client can sometimes share different goals. But I think we can really bridge the gap between these goals, and increasingly it's part of our roles as designers to do so. We can create beautiful brands that deliver impact for business too. So we live in a visual world. The importance of visual communication is growing across every single industry. Everyone needs to be able to communicate visually in every single role and every organization. This means the role of design and professional designers is more important than ever before. To quote Brian Collins, design is not what we make, it's what we make possible for others. So if you're creating a brand system for a large client, there will be many people who will need to use it on a day-to-day basis. Your brand may be adopted by internal design teams, but also the sales team, community managers, accountants. People who don't know how to use Adobe, but do have very important jobs to do that require visual communication. So FedEx is an example of this. This is a global organization with a distributed workforce. They recently used Canva to roll out a company-wide rebrand. They wanted a tool that's inclusive for anyone beyond the marketing department. And so now they have over 3,000 employees using Canva to create consistent brand communications at scale. So how do you set up a brand system for scale in Canva? I'm going to show you. Let's just say that you've created this beautiful brand here for Concordia, your client, and the design programs of your choice. So how do you hand it over to a large organization, ensure the brand stays consistent, and enable non-designers to use it too? You could create an 100-page guidelines and hand over packaged files and hope for the best, or you could set it up in Canva. So to get started, get yourself set up in a Canva account. You've got two options here when you're working as a professional designer. So Canva Pro is great if you're a freelance designer or if you're part of a smaller design team. And then Canva Enterprise is great if you are part of a sort of bigger design agency or an in-house design team where you're working with really large organizations, as it has a lot more features to help with brand consistency at scale. So your brand is only as strong as the team behind it. Once you're ready to roll with Canva, invite the whole team. There are 3 role profiles that you can assign to your team members. So administrators are the people who will manage the Canva account. They can edit the account settings and brand controls, as well as add and remove team members. Template designers, this is your design team, people you really trust with your brand. Their job is to create and publish templates for the wider team to use. And then members, this is everyone else. Typically, these people aren't designers by trade, but they do need to use visual communications in their role. Members can access team templates and modify them for their needs. Let's take a look at how to do that in Canva. So in the left menu, you go to your team page and then across to the people tab. You can invite people to your team by adding in an email or sending them a link. And then you'll find the people that you've invited on the list below, and you can assign their roles there as admins, template designers, or members. So now that your team's set up, let's set up those beautiful brand assets you've created. The brand kit is your brand's personal hub in Canva. It contains the basic elements of your visual identity, so logos, fonts, and colors. These elements will be easy to access when you're designing and available to the wider team to keep everything on brand and consistent. So from the homepage again, you want to go to the left menu and click Brand Kit. From here, you can upload your brand logos as PNG or SVG files. It also automatically detects, as you can see, the colors in the logos. So if you wanted to add them to your palette, you can. Otherwise, you just click on the plus and then type in your brand color hex codes there. So we're going to add our 4 core brand colors to our palette there. And then next up, we can upload our fonts. So you can use Canva's brand fonts from Canva's library here, or you can upload fonts that you might have licensed from another foundry for the brand. And voila, your brand kit is ready to go. And you can also add as many brand kits as you like. This is super helpful if you work across multiple different brands. When you're designing in the editor, it's really easy to swap between brand kits and use the one that's most relevant to the job that you're working on. And then with Canva Enterprise, you also have an extra level of brand control. So you can decide here whether team members can use all the colors in the rainbow or just brand colors, whether they can use all the fonts in Canva's library or just the brand fonts. And then you can also turn on design approvals. So with design approvals, you get a workflow where you can decide whether your team members need to go through you for approval before they publish their designs out into the world. So now that we've got our logos and our fonts and our colors all set, let's take a look at adding some other brand elements like those lovingly crafted icons and that beautifully art-directed photography. You can organize all of your brand assets into folders that can be shared with the wider team to be easily accessed right from the design editor. So from the homepage again, go to all your folders. Here you can create new folders. I'm going to call this folder icons. You can share this folder with your team too, so that they can access the assets also. And then what I'm going to do is upload these really fun icons that I created in Illustrator and saved out as SVG files. You can repeat this process and create as many folders as you like for all of your other brand needs. So it could be brand photography folders or folders that are specific to a campaign that you might have in coming up for the brand too. And if you also need content really fast, nice, fresh, quick content, and you don't have the budget to do a shoot, Canva has a library of premium content to choose from too. So you could find some photos that feel on brand and then just click through to add these to a folder too. So I'm going to add these to my next brand campaign. Once you're back in the editor, you will find the folders in the left-hand menu of the editor as well, and you can easily add these assets to your design or just drag and drop. So now for the fun part, we've got all of our brand assets in Canva ready to go. Let's make some fancy on-brand designs and publish them as templates. So obviously, as a professional designer, you can start from a blank page. Here in the color section, you can see all the brand colors up the top. We can jump to folders. Here's all the photos that you've just added to your folders. Adding the text too. Once you jump into the kind of fonts menu there as well, you'll see that the brand fonts are sitting right up the top too, easy to access. So I'm just going to format my nice little title here. And then again, when you're looking for logos, you find your logos folder down on the left menu. You can add your logo to the page. And then you can actually lock off your logo too if you're quite strict about where the logo needs to be placed in a template. And that means no one can actually move it when they're designing with it. Then you go to share, click templates. You want to add it to the shared with you folder and go to team templates. And that means everyone else can access the templates that you've published. Woohoo! First are brand published templates. So now pretend I'm Maggie from social media. I need to knock together a really quick post. She's going to go to the templates menu, have a scroll through the templates, pick the one that you designed earlier, and then she's going to customize it for her own needs. So she can update the text here to talk about a sale that she's got going on. She can't move the logo because you've locked it in place there, but she can change the brand colors really easily using the brand palette. She's going for secondary palette orange there. And then she can change the photos as well using that brand campaign folder that you've got. So just like that, we've got a different design using the same consistent brand. As they say, teamwork makes the dream work. So having your entire team collaborating in one place really streamlines communication, and we can get our designs done a lot faster. You can collaborate with your clients too. You can invite them to comment on your designs if you like, and this may save you some time sending PDFs back and forth over email. So let's have a look at a bit of collaboration. So to invite your team, you just click on the plus top button up the top there, add in people's emails, send them an invite, and then they'll come into the design and join you. And then all three of you together can have a little bit of a sim collab moment. Here we've got 3 people all designing at the same time so that we can get this pitch deck ready as quickly as possible. And then you can also add comments here too. So we can talk to each other if we're working remotely from other sides of the planet and get the job done well. So that's it. That's us getting set up so that our brands can scale. So we have used our own professional products, the ones we know and love, to get everything ready, all of the assets. And then we've got Canva here, which helps us scale those so that clients can really easily use them. And hopefully that beautiful brand will endure the test of time. Okay, let's jump into section 2. I'm going to take us through a few now that hopefully these can really help you save some time and help you get back to doing all those things that you really, really love to do. The first one I'm going to show you, I touched on a little bit earlier. So if you need to import custom illustrations into Canva, let me show you how. So what you need to do when you're in Illustrator is export your illustrations as SVG files. And then once you've got those all ready to go, SVG is really good because it means that when you add them into Canva, they're actually layered in so that you can change the colors directly in Canva as well. So as I showed you before, you can create different icons. You can bring all of your SVG files from Illustrator into Canva like this. And then once we get into the editor, you can actually recolor those designs as well. So here we have a folder. Let's find our folder. There's our brand icons. We can grab one of those and pop it into our design directly like that. And then you can see when you've clicked on it, how the colors pop up in the top there. And so you can actually recolor your illustrations directly in Canva. Just like that. The other way you can do it is you can actually drag and drop an AI file, so your Illustrator file, directly onto your Canva homepage, and it would automatically turn into a Canva design. So that was just a simple drag and drop of one Illustrator file, turned it into a design, and now I can pop it into a template and play around with it. Change the colors, add my logo, and I've got an on-brand design, super, super, super quick, straight from Illustrator. So the other things we can do is we can convert PDFs to templates really easily now. So this might be, you might have a client who's asked you to convert really, really old kind of PowerPoint slides into something beautiful in the new brand. Or it could be that you've got some InDesign files that you've saved out as PDFs. So let me show you how to pop those into Canva really quickly too. So when you go create design in the top, you push import PDF from the bottom of the menu and you import that PDF there. So that's going to come into Canva. You can click in, and then once you're in the editor, you'll see that the PDF now has all editable elements. So you can easily customize the text and maybe change a photo. And it is now a Canva template from a PDF, just like that. So maybe you've got to roll out a new brand style across everything. That's going to take a while unless you try styles in Canva. So you can see with our PDF we've brought in, it was 25 pages, which is going to take a long time to update every single page. Just go to styles and you can click on your brand kit elements and try a couple of pages, because the styles on different pages may be different. So once you've done a couple of pages, you push apply all pages, and voila, we have our 25-page PDF updated in our new brand style, just like that. Then we want to roll out one design into 10 different formats. That's going to take a while, setting up all the dimensions, but we do have a magic trick in Canva too. It's called Magic Resize. So once you've done one design, you can go to resize. You can click all the different sizes that you do need to set that one design up as, and you can see along the top there, you've got all of the little tabs opening. And so those little tabs that are opening have now got everything set up in all the different sizes that you need for your campaign. Next one, spending hours depitching in Photoshop. We've got a quick one here for you too. It is called, let me show you. We've got this beautiful girl here. She's going to go on a holiday. Background remover. So with one click in background remover, you can remove any background just like that. Voila. So the next one is about spending hours making meticulous mock-ups. You've got a client presentation coming up, you want your designs to look beautiful, and so you're getting them all kind of nicely mocked up in the real world. What you can do in Canva is you might have a design like this ready to go, download it as like a flat PNG file so that it's just one image. Then once you're in your client presentation, you can go and find smart mock-ups, click on the image, smart mock-ups, and then there's all these different options for real life objects that you can mock up your designs onto. So again, one click, and there we have our beautiful mobile design now mocked up in real life. The client's going to love it. And the next one, still uploading and downloading huge files back and forth. We don't have to do that anymore with Canva. If you set up your presentations in Canva, and then you can just share a view link directly with the client rather than sending them a whole packaged file. They're going to get the email, they're going to open up that link, and then they've just got this lovely presentation here which they can click through at their own pace without having to upload or download anything. The good thing about this too is if you have sent the client the file and then you realize you've got a spelling mistake or you want to make a little update, you can make those updates and update in real time as well. So when the client opens it, it'll be just like you want it. Better yet, this is one of my favorites yet. You can actually send your presentations as a website. So if you publish as a website and with a scrolling view, then you can send that one to the client as a link, open that up. And when they look at that one, they get this beautiful, super fancy kind of parallax scrolling view of your presentation. Very, very impressive and didn't take you long at all. So that's it. That's all the tips and tricks for you professional designers. I really, really hope that helps save you some time and also inspires you in all the different ways that you can use Canva. I've got a bunch of other resources here I wanted to chat you through as well. So just to explain a little bit more about the Canva Pro and the Canva Enterprise features that we have. So I kind of talked about Pro being really good for freelance and small design teams, and Enterprise being really good for large organizations. You can see here all the things that you get in Canva Pro. So premium content library, the background remover I just showed you, magic resize I just showed you, collaborating in real time with your team, lots of brackets, as many brackets as you need, well, 100. And then with Canva Enterprise, everything that's in yellow is all the additional stuff that you get in that. So some important aspects there for big enterprises is single sign-on, which helps with security. And then the brand controls, which I showed you, where you can turn different brand assets on and off to really kind of help with the consistency at scale and design approval workflows as well. And then if you are a design agency or you're a larger organization, you can join the Creative Partner Program that we've just started running. So we have got a team here at Canva who's helping larger agencies start to get set up on Enterprise. So with this, you sign up to be part of a community of agencies and studios and freelancers who are growing their business with Canva. You get extra training to help you onboard you with all of those enterprise features. You get to try out new stuff that comes up in the product as beta. We give you insights and resources, and also 24/7 partnership and support from our teams here at Canva. So if that sounds a bit like you, then you can also take a look at this link. This will take you through to a form. You can fill in that form to see if you're eligible for the partner program as well. Scan the QR code or write down that bit.ly link. And then, of course, for all the tips that I've shared with you today, I know I ran through that really, really quickly, and there was a lot of kind of good stuff in there that you might want to try again later. So I've put everything that I shared with you today in a bit of a viewable workbook. So all of those little screen flows, you can watch them over and again to see how I did those. So you can go to bit.ly Canva for Pros, and you'll be able to access that workbook and take a look at all of that again. Thank you for your time again today. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks so much, Kat. We've got so many questions for you and Andrew. Let's fire away. First question we have, Kat, is from Carly. And they've asked, what's the best way to express how important brand or on-brand marketing is to businesses?
I guess the way I think about a brand is that it's a promise to your customers. So this promise is a unique story that your customers will remember when they think about your business or your product or your service. And brand marketing is really important because it's all about how your brand shows up in the world. So if you consistently reinforce that promise in everything you do, you will gain loyalty and trust from your customers, and this is your best competitive advantage.
Thank you for those insightful tips, Kat. We have another question from Michaela. Can you explain copyright in regards to fonts and images on Canva?
If you use a piece of content on Canva, like a photo or a sticker or a music track, it is covered by our content licensing agreement, which is essentially the same thing as copyright. So we grant you a non-exclusive license to use this piece of content. So it won't be exclusive just to you, but you can have the copyright to use it as well as other people. Our license kind of covers a wide range of uses. You can use the content for both personal and commercial use. And then we have two types of content too that's under the copyright. So you've got free and pro. And so free content is free to use as much as you like in any way that you like. And then pro is our premium content, and you will pay a small licensing fee for pro content. And again, use it in whatever way you like.
That was a brilliant answer, Kat. You're a designer and a lawyer. Andrew Green, this one's for you, my friend, and it's from Eva. I'm not an expert, but I feel like I'm starting to understand the basics thanks to Canva. How can I take it to the next level?
For me, I've always thought about the next level being mastering the strategy side of design and then also the communication side of design. So switching gears to strategy means when you're talking to clients, really understanding their goals and making sure that the design work that you're pulling together is really going to help them hit their goals. So it's one thing to sort of be really great in your design craft and sort of be doing that, in your own time. But then the next level is really then applying that to hit your client's goals, or it could even be, your friend wants you to do an invitation for a birthday, really understanding their goals to get everyone to RSVP. And that's what you're designing for, not just to design a kind of cool looking thing. So yeah, I really think that that's when you're taking it to the next level, when you're thinking about strategy and communication a little bit more with design.
Amazing. Love that, Andrew. We got another one for you, a cool one. Do you think you'd ever make Canva compatible with an Apple Pencil? And this one's from Chrissy.
Yes, is the very short answer. Absolutely. We've actually just released a new app in Canva called the Draw. There's a Draw app. I know someone in the chat also mentioned that as well. And with the Draw app on an iPad, using your Apple Pencil, you can draw as you would on a note paper, scribble away, put some notes down, do some sketches of what you want the design to kind of look like before you really get into it. Yeah, so look out for that. So that's in the More tab. So I don't have a screen flow for this, but you'll have to just follow along. You click on the More tab when you're in the editor, and then search for Draw, and you'll see the Draw app come up in your search results, and add that, and then you always have your Draw app there in your editor, ready to go when you're using your iPad.
I love that. I recently got an iPad, so I'll be trying that when I go home tonight. So thank you very much, Andrew. Kat, this one's for you. Clients love when I use Canva. Why don't creative directors? Surely it makes their lives easier. And that one's from Crystal.
Thank you, Crystal. That's exactly what my talk was about. I may have answered this question already, I hope. But in short, clients love Canva because it's easy for them to use. And then we just need people like you to help us with creative directors and show them understanding Canva's value. It's never going to be a replacement for professional designers or their tools. It's always going to be a supplement. If creative directors can set up their files in a way that's really easy for clients to use, I feel like it's a win-win situation there, because they don't have to do the annoying little updates and they can spend more of their time solving the really big, important design problems.
Awesome. And that's exactly how we want them spending their time. I saw this question come through in the chat multiple times, but Andrew, would Canva ever offer a certificate in design? And this is from Belen.
Look, we're really hoping to help our Canva community build up their design skills, some of the basics of graphic design that I talked about today. We really are interested in verifying those skills and providing a unique Canva qualification that would ultimately help people get more design opportunities. And we want to build it in Canva as well. And we're actively looking at doing this at the moment. We want to do it really well. So we want to make sure we do it the best way we can. So I can't say too much, but I can say just stay tuned on that one.
Oh, what a cliffhanger, Andrew. I do like secrets. Question for you, Andrew. I still find the blank canvas daunting. How do you, as a designer, overcome that?
Oh yeah, this is one that I think every designer has experienced, is that blank canvas. And I think everyone sort of builds up their own way to deal with it. What I like to do when I see that blank canvas is really immerse myself in the problem. So what's the problem that I'm trying to solve? Every great designer is always pulling a design solution together that's helping solve that problem. So if you think about all the evidence of the problem that you're trying to solve, that's a really good way to start, and just writing that all down. At least then you're writing something down and the canvas is not being blank anymore. And then what I find is that once you've really understood that problem, it's kind of easy to then tip yourself into some really open-ended design activities, like pulling together a mood board, going through some of the Canva libraries, looking at some images, pulling some of those into your design and sort of just starting to play around. And the other tip, I think at this point as well, is to not be a perfectionist. Sometimes, being a perfectionist can really be your own worst enemy here. Just play around with it, just get things moving and get things going. There's plenty of time for perfection later. And I think what you'll find is that once you've laid these things out and you can see that the canvas is not blank anymore, you understood the problem, these images are starting to make a little bit of sense, then you really get the creative juices going and you can kind of push on.
Awesome, Andrew. Thank you. I totally agree. I think you just got to jump right into Canva and play around with it. Quick one for you, Kat. Is there a quick way that you can explain Canva's value to other designers or clients? And this one's from Casey.
I'll give you two options. One option is it's an easy to use design tool that anyone can use for visual communication. Just try it for yourself. I think trying it for yourself is the most important thing to help people realize the value. Option 2 is it's cheaper than Netflix and better for your business.
Kat, another question for you. I never drew as a child, but I want to be a graphic designer. And this isn't me speaking, this is Mark. Do you have advice for someone who wants to start a new career path? If so, what's that advice?
Thank you, Mark. That's a really good question. I think that you actually don't need to be born a natural artist to become a designer. Just like any other pursuit, like learning Spanish or playing tennis, it takes practice. And so, the champion sprinter only became a champion because she trains every single day. And so I think, learning the language of graphic design is something that just takes practice until you get fluent at it. So it took me years to become fluent in the language of design. An example of that, like when I was a baby designer, I found type hierarchy really hard, like a really hard thing to master. And so I used to take really amazing posters or layouts by great designers, and then I would just replicate those designs over and over again until I really understood why they would have made those decisions about the size of the type next to that size of the type and the way they spaced it out. So, once I kind of built up my understanding of things like type hierarchy, then I could start to put my own spin on it and put my own style on it. Yeah, I guess starting on this career path just starts with practicing.
Thank you, Kat. That's awesome advice. We have one last question, and this is an exciting one. This is from Jennifer. Andrew, how do you see Canva being used in the metaverse?
Look, for us, I get really excited actually thinking about how Canva can be used in the metaverse environments. There's like the obvious piece here, which is being able to be immersed in an environment, bring your Canva documents with you, decorate your environment with these amazing designs. And like a really good example would be like a teacher. I think that teaching is going to be a massive part of the metaverse. And if Canva's there, all of the teachers' content's there. If they want to put posters up for their class, they can really sort of, it's all there and they can sort of put it around them and make it look really nice. So yeah, visual content, visual communication is going to be so important in the metaverse. But then there's also the other thing that I'm really excited about as well, which is how people collaborate. I think that's one of the biggest benefits of any sort of virtual reality demo we've seen from some of the tech companies over the last few weeks. And I think having Canva in those environments just means that you can have all your creativity just there in that environment at that point. So you could be doing, as I mentioned before, like a mood board, and you've got the whole Canva library there just to sort of pull your mood board together with other designers. As Kat's talked a lot about, using Canva to interact with clients. Imagine that in the metaverse, using Canva to actually have that meeting with clients face to face, but having all of your Canva designs there as well. So I think there's so many amazing ideas. I think if you bring in Canva into the metaverse, they're the ones that sort of come to mind straight away.
Great answer, Andrew. I am really excited about the metaverse, and that collaboration piece as well is super interesting. Thank you so much, Kat and Andrew, for your time today. Those sessions were so insightful and so valuable. So everyone at home, virtual clap for Kat and Andrew. It's been an absolute pleasure being one of your MCs. I'm Clayton Criven.
And I'm Julie Floater. Happy creating.